Hey everyone, welcome back to another Mattel Jurassic World review. Today we're taking a look at the new Dinoscape Fierce Force Styracosaurus. Finally, I was able to track down at least a couple figures in this extremely elusive wave. Someone please explain to me why every time the Styracosaurus is in one of these waves, it becomes impossible to find. Like seriously, all three waves with the Styracosaurus, there are figures that are commanding a huge secondary value on the market. We all know what happened with the Dimetrodon, and then Primal Attack rolls around. Scutosaurus going to sell your kidney or a firstborn to get your hands on these figures. It's just if I had a nickel for every time this happened, I'd have 3 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened thrice. So anyways, how I got my hands on this figure and the Monolophosaurus also available in this wave, I got it off Target's app. What a headache that's been, because it pops in the stock for just a few seconds and you just, you're under the gun trying to add it to your cart, but you also need to hit the $35 minimum shipping threshold. So that's why I've had this Transformer figure I didn't even want sitting in my cart for 2 weeks until I was able to at least add a couple figures from this wave to my cart. So I'm happy I at least got the Styracosaurus and Monolophosaurus. So let's just take a quick look at the packaging before we crack this Styracosaurus open. Comes in the Dinoscape style packaging. You got blue right here, Jurassic Park logo, Smash Paddock fences in the background. Turn it around, you get a picture of the Styracosaurus, how its Fierce Force action works, and down here are the other figures available in this wave. Like I said, I got the Monolophosaurus. Still can't get my hands on the Machiacosaurus repaint and that godforsaken ugly Tanystropheus. I probably just said it wrong, but it's such an ugly figure with a bad paint job. And I need it. I have to add every new species that comes out in this line, and this thing is being an absolute headache to get my hands on. So enough about the packaging. Let's crack this figure open and take a closer look. All right, let's start on this 360-degree view of the Styracosaurus. I've always had a soft spot for this mold. It's a really nice dinosaur sculpt in the Jurassic World line. And the other reason I like this figure a lot is, for those of you who have been following this channel for a very, very long time, the Styracosaurus that came out in Dino Rivals was the very first figure I ever reviewed on the channel. So if you want to go back and watch the first video ever on this channel and watch me not learn how to do cuts and stuff and just sound like a complete moron, I suggest you check that video out. But like I said, nice figure. The body is this light gray color, and you have like a darker brown for color on the back. The underside of the stomach has some coloring on it, and I do like the yellow and orange on the frill. All three Styracosaurs have been pretty good in my opinion. I just, for the life of me, I just don't know why the Styracosaurus is so cursed every wave. Just absolutely headache for us collectors to get our hands on. And now let's just do a couple quick measurements. This figure is just about 7 inches long from the tip of the snout to the tip of the tail, and about 3.5 inches tall to the top of that spike on the frill. So Styracosaurus was a mid-size ceratopsy, around 18 feet long. So I'll put this figure somewhere in the 1/30 scale range. And the biggest complaint I always hear about this figure, and it's a complaint of my own also, is that it's just way too small to scale with most of the dinosaurs in the Jurassic World line. It should really be like around like a Roivor size figure, and we all know Mattel scaling is all over the place, especially when it comes to their ceratopsy, and let's not get me started on how small their Triceratops is. So let's zoom in and take a look at some of the finer details on this figure, starting with this really nice head sculpt. Like I said, it's a nice sculpted dinosaur figure, and that's a pretty accurate looking Styracosaurus head sculpt on here. The eye is painted yellow with finally a black pupil. One of my big complaints is that Mattel will just paint the iris and leave the pupil just whatever the base plastic is underneath it. So it's nice that they actually painted the pupil on this figure. You can see the nostril sculpting right here. All the horns are done in a white paint. The beak is also painted in white, and a lot of nice scale detail and paint apps on the head. Just love the false eyes right here with the yellow highlighted by the orange. Turn the figure over, you can see the underside is painted a nice yellow for the belly region. And since we have the figure turned over, here is the scan code for those who want to scan it to the fax app. And don't get used to scanning them on the feet for much longer, because when Dominion comes out, it's going to pull out of their back on a tab. It's a whole thing. People are really, really not liking that. You even got some nice scale detail on the back of the frill. You can see the markings, the brown markings on the back right here. Not an elaborate color scheme, but a nice natural one, and I think it works pretty well on this figure because some large scales along the back and also along the tail. Front legs are nicely sculpted. You have that nice elephant look with all those folds and wrinkles, some nice scale details all over the body. Toe claws are not painted in, which is pretty typical for almost every figure in the line, especially recently. Mattel's gotten really, really stingy on the paint apps. And then going down to the tail, you can see the tail curves a little bit to the side. So yeah, all in all, Styracosaurus mold still holds up all these years later. Now for articulation, it's pretty basic on this figure. You do get some nice side-to-side movement on that head joint. The rest of it is tied to the action feature, which we'll get to momentarily. Front arms can move forwards and backwards. You do have a hinge on those front legs that lets you swing the arms out for whatever reason. The hind legs can move backwards. I mean, so forwards and backwards. There is a locking point to keep them in their neutral position, and that is it for articulation. Now for the action feature, all you need to do is push down on that tail and just support it with one hand, and you can get some nice head ramming action with that Styracosaurus. Moving on with comparisons, here it is with one of the human figures. Here it is with Sammy, and you can see that this figure is just hilariously too small. Styracosaurus should not be the size of a pony. And here it is with the other Styracosaurus. There's the Dino Rivals, and here is the one that came out in Primal Attack. And I like all three of them. I like the nice color variation among the three figures. You know, it's one of the repaints I really don't complain about because I like the mold so much, and I think all three look great together. And here are the figures. The Styracosaurus seems to curse when it's in the wave. The Dimetrodon and the Scutosaurus, you know, we can get 800 T-Rex repaints, Raptor repaints, but man, Mattel does not want to repaint these non-dinosaur figures for whatever reason. I know we're supposed to be getting a Dimetrodon at some point during Dominion, and who knows, we'll definitely see a Scutosaurus. I don't know what point, but it would be absolutely hilarious if whenever these figures do turn up, there's a Styracosaurus in the wave just to continue the curse. I don't know, I guess I just like pain. And next up, here it is with the Roar Attack Kentrosaurus. And let's do a few Ceratopsian figures. Here it is with the always too small Triceratops. And let's move that dumb little figure off to the side. Here it is with the Pseudoceratops, which ironically is a little bit smaller than Styracosaurus in real life. And here it is with the awesome looking Mega Destroyers Pentaceratops. And let's do one more. And here it is with the Sinoceratops. And let's do a couple dinosaurs that actually lived alongside Styracosaurus. Here it is with Parasaurolophu, and we're just going to sub in this Albertosaurus as Gorgosaurus since they're very, very similar species. And lastly, let's do our obligatory TRex comparison. Here it is with the Legacy Collection T-Rex. So final thoughts on this new Styracosaurus. It's another repaint, but it's one of those few repaints I don't complain about because it's a really great mold. And I think all three of them look really nice next to each other. The one thing I don't like is the curse of the Styracosaurus. Just those waves, man, they are just an absolute nightmare to track down. And hopefully I can track down that Tanny at some point. I have not paid scalper prices for any of the Jurassic World figures since I started collecting, and I really hope I don't have to resort to that before the price skyrockets on it. Hopefully we'll see more of these pop up in stores or online. I think there's really no other Dino Escape figures coming out because as of today on Collect Jurassic, they teased some of the Dominion Legacy Collection figures that are coming out, and man, poor Mattel, man, they are just like skimping on the paint apps lately, and none of those figures just look good to me. I mean, yeah, the Cosmoceratops looks cool, but man, those paint jobs, it's like night and day. Go back and look at figures from Fallen Kingdom versus what we're getting now. Like, they are just skimping on paint apps left and right. And like I said at the beginning of the review, I end up luckily getting this thing off the Target app. It is just a game of timing. You only have a few seconds to add it to the cart. Gonna hit that $35 shipping threshold, and hope you make it through checkout. Hopefully these will show up on Amazon, so it's a little bit easier for some of you collectors to get your hands on it. And just keep checking the Target app to set up for notifications, and just, you know, hopefully you're lucky. So that would do for the review. I got the Monolophosaurus repaint from this wave to review, and I actually finally found the Brooklyn Dino pack along with Darius and the baby Brachiosaurus, another set that's been giving me trouble. I know everyone's been saying that they're popping up like crazy at Macy's. I've been checking my Macy's like every day for a couple weeks straight. They have restocked the toy department, and I did see some, you know, more Jurassic product up there. Could not find the human packs. Today while I was leaving, there's a small toy section set up on the other side of the sunglasses on the first floor, completely, you know, on a different level than the actual toy department. And they were sitting there, so I probably walked past them the last 2 weeks. So now I have them. So be on the lookout for those reviews. So that would do it. As always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription will help the channel tremendously, and it's greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys for the next one.